Today I'm going to talk about one of the most interesting and relevant topics nowadays in reproduction. I'm going to talk about mate suppression and modern day reproductive genocide. I'm making this video because I want the people I work with as a donor to understand the ways they might be mate suppressed. I want people who maybe have a partner who's being mate suppressed be successful and grow their families. I'm Donor Dan. I've helped 20 families grow in the last 1.5 years. I am from a large extended international family. My father was a donor already. He has 23 biological children, offspring. So I know a little bit of what I'm talking about when it comes to reproduction and extended family. The idea of mate suppression is generally making it harder for other people to have children so that you can have more children, right? To lower competition and to have more healthy offspring. So why do we do this? Why do we have these mate suppressive instincts, both in men and in women? They show differently in men than they do in women just because of the way we reproduce are very different. The way a woman reproduces is 100% basically the opposite of the way a man reproduces. So I'm going to go into the forms later, and I think it's very interesting to see how women and men nowadays interact and work in order to mate suppress each other. Again, this is something very natural. I don't usually try to judge things being good or bad. I judge things by being natural or healthy, but I am an expansionist, I am a natalist, so whatever creates healthy life is something I will say is good. Now, we have mate suppression instincts because there used to be a lot of resource scarcity, and of course we have a strong survival instinct, plus we want a high paternal investment. So if we want healthier offspring and lower competition, we need to get as many resources as we can. We need to get as much paternal investment from the father, donor, or, I say donor just not because sperm donors were always a thing, but some men were acting as donors. They were going from tribe to tribe, or like going to war or whatever, and not being a dad or father in that kind of sense. So open donors is very new, but donors have been around for quite some time. Now, we want to secure as much paternal investment and resources to make sure our chances of healthy offspring go up. And if we have less competition, it's easier to get that paternal investment and to get those resources as well. So we are in high competition for partners up to this day, and we want to protect our relationships and our offspring. So if I am able to say, let's say we have two women in a kind of survival state and competition. Both of them, they have the reproductive instinct to survive. They want the resource and the paternal investment. It's very beneficial for me if I'm the one having children, the other one not, because then the other one will not take away resources, will not take away the paternal investment from the guy who got me pregnant, and will not interfere in a way that she needs my investment in her children. The other way around, she can invest in my children, right? So we're seeing things like mate suppression even between sisters as well, where some sisters try to, take their sister's boyfriend away or things like that. But we're going to go into the forms now after that. But I hope this kind of explains and understands and makes you guys understand why mate suppression is something very natural. It's been around for tens of thousands of years. We won't be able to get it away just by, trying to consciously push it away, because other people still have this mate suppression. So if we don't push against, if we don't find solutions, then we're going to be in the situation that we're in right now, which is everyone's mate suppressing everyone in many, many, many different ways, many modern ways as well. And one of the big reasons why we have a low fertility rate across most of the world is because mate suppression is still deeply enrooted in us, and at the same time there are many more ways to mate suppress. So one of the nicest or easiest forms I like to explain as a form of mate suppression, because I had this experience with past girlfriends, is a female telling another female, he ain't shit. That guy is not worth it. Maybe think about it a bit longer before you commit to him. You should go and try to date other men because he's a bit, his nose is a bit crooked, for example. Or is he really making enough money for you to raise a child, because having a child is very expensive. This kind of he ain't shit idea that women like to tell other women, hey, this man, I don't think he's that good, or give subconscious kind of hints towards this man is not that good, saying things such as, well, my man or this other man I met, he does this and that, and this other couple that I met, they do this and that. But I'm going to go into these modern day fake relationship ideologies later as well. So that's a very simple form of mate suppression, and we're seeing that a lot, especially between women. Men, they don't have the same kind of mate suppressive instinct, because they do have some mate suppressive instinct for sure. They used to kill each other over women, so they have mate suppressive instinct. But it's a bit different, because if men collaborate well with each other, they can basically have an endless amount of biological offspring. If they are the strongest and they have, all the weapons, and they collaborate well and they support each other, they can have the largest amount of offspring. While for a woman, the offspring is limited to 10 to 20 children. I think the most a woman can have is 20 children, but if you push it, it's like 10, I would say, is the most children a woman can have. That's why we're not seeing this kind of gossip and doubt between men and women as we're seeing it between women and women. Another modern and very prevalent form of mate suppression is chasing profits instead of family. So I'm going to go into that when I talk about larger systems and kind of institutions as well. But we were made to live in tribes. Let's say this is our tribe and everyone knows each other, right? You have everyone knowing each other. This is the kind of connection that we have. This is what a tribe looked like. Let's say 100, 200, 300, maybe 400 people living in one tribe. Everyone would know each other, and everyone would have more interest in also the others reproducing. There was always mate suppressing in there, but nowadays we live in institutions, systems, and 9-to-5 jobs where the structures look more like this, right? They're much bigger. We have way more people in those systems, in those institutions, and they are able and capable to do more. So this kind of becomes a new, you could almost say that it is a new kind of animal, right? This whole institution, this whole system becomes something and can do things that a small tribe cannot do. We're seeing that right now with the United States invading Iran the way they do, which a tribe, of course, wouldn't be able to do. You need a large system for that. However, within this, if you're chasing, let's say, profit, or if you're chasing war, what happens is that people indirectly mate suppress each other in many ways, via materialism, driving a nice car into the parking lot of the 9-to-5 that you have. You think you can make some nice deals over here, while the other people over here, they struggle a bit through those deals. You don't have that as much in tribes. You do have it as well, but modern day profit chasing is much more extreme than the kind of mate suppression you could do in tribes. However, again, in tribes people used to kill each other, so I would say there's a different kind of extreme. But it's just a modern day way of why we're living much longer, but at the same time we're having way less kids. Racism is a form of mate suppression, right? Saying someone, but that's also very, very old and kind of instinctual way of suppressing each other or suppressing other tribes, is by saying, hey, this person is of a different skin color, so we're not going to reproduce with that person, or you're not allowed to reproduce with that person. This kind of cultural implication that you're not allowed to reproduce with someone else. Again, I don't judge racism as being, I know racism has a negative connotation, but I don't judge it. It's very natural, and it's been around forever. It's just about how to navigate it in order to grow a healthy family yourself and not mate suppress yourself, while not mate suppressing the other people in your tribe or family either, because long term you want your children to have a large network and a strong family, right? We're seeing mate suppression even with donors, and this is off topic a bit on the a side note. We're seeing mate suppression with donors. Donors, of course, try and mate suppress each other a bit. And when I came into the industry, they tried to bully me out the Facebook groups, which of course didn't work, because I was always Donor Dan when I got into the industry. And before I was Donor Dan in the open donor industry, they used to call me Dan the Man. So some bald-headed, ugly guy will not get me bullied out of the sperm donation industry. I'm really sorry about that. But what I wanted to say is also women subconsciously, when a donor starts having more and more children, they find more and more illogical reasons why that donor is doing something dangerous or bad for their child, because subconsciously they have the survival instinct, resource scarcity, paternal investment that they're worried about. They come up with reasons such as incest. There's an incest fallacy in the open donor industry. There has never been incest between two kids from an open donor because everyone knows who their biological father is. That's the whole point of an open donor. So it's basically a really stupid way of thinking, but it is very natural. Logically speaking, it's stupid, but naturally, emotionally speaking, it makes sense. So it's important for us donors to address that and to put it out there and to talk about the incest fallacy. Now, I do still have a family limit because I want my recipients to know that I trust them and their choices as well. So I involve them in my family limit, and they can learn with me on the way and decide what's best for their children as well. So I take a bit of a different approach than most donors who either have like a cut limit at 10 or 20, or donors who are lying and say I'm doing 10 but they do whatever they want, or donors who just go straight into as many as they possibly can. But yeah, that's a different topic. That's just on the side. Recipients sometimes try to mate suppress each other as well, even though it doesn't make sense because there's no paternal investment, there's no resource scarcity anymore. They're not competing for partners because a donor can help many recipients. All this is not happening, but they still have these drive to a point where they will neglect raising their children and try to, go after their donor, which I've seen happening before too, which is kind of sad because, you want to be educated enough to say, okay, I feel this weird feeling about my donor, but that makes no sense. I have everything I need. I don't need his paternal investment. I chose to go with a donor. I want to invest my energy and my time into my biological offspring. Okay. I talked about this before, he ain't shit, or are you sure, shouldn't you wait, or shouldn't you have some money first, or should you not do this and that. Sometimes it might be useful reasoning if it's someone who already has a lot of children. Generally speaking, if you take advice from people and you want to grow your family, best is to take advice from people who already have a lot of children, which is why as a donor, I share a lot that I know because I have a lot of biological offspring. I see a lot of families. I work with a lot of families, even though I don't have my own family yet, but I hope that will happen in the future as well. So even from me, don't take every advice 100% seriously. Of course, I'm not trying to mate suppress you. I'm trying to educate you and help you grow your family. But if you want to take advice about are you sure and blah, 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 don't take this advice from childless people. I've seen a lot of my ex-girlfriends be loyal to mate suppressive friends that said things like this or like this, who were gossiping and doubting, even straight new into a relationship, nothing problematic or no fight, no discussion, nothing yet, and they were already gossiping and doubting. They can do it based on social media status and that kind of stuff as well. They can do it based on these large systems and career where people fake their career or people, become materialistic. They can find a reason, and it's very sad to see, but a lot of people, because of it, are not having children anymore. So yeah, I just explained how large systems influence modern day mate suppression, where people put their career over their family because their career becomes an interesting, weird kind of family substitute. Still very different. They're becoming part of a larger, bigger organism that is surviving, but their own family and themselves are dying. So they're being mate suppressed by a larger system and by a larger society or by a larger institution. That could be a government, a country. It can even happen in huge, large churches and stuff. But small tribes and small communities, we'll get into that, are less mate suppressive actually. Social media status and social media inflation is also a modern form of mate suppression, where people fake something on social media and show, hey, I have a lot of friends, I have thousands of followers, I have pretty friends, I am beautiful looking, and we have this inflation. People compete with each other there to a point where that, combined with the hyper dating, the casual sex, and the option to just reach out to anyone and look at anyone online, it's kind of feeling that you have endless amounts of choices. You might have endless amounts of choices reproductively, but your time to reproduce is still limited, which is why it's best, and I showed that in my last video, to go into a raw relationship. Again, if you want to grow your family, my suggestions are not perfect for everyone. The baseline and the norm is extinction and death, and a lot of people in the past, they have gone extinct. A lot of Homo sapiens have gone extinct. The majority has gone extinct. So if extinction and death is your choice you want to make, I think it at least should be an educated choice. You should know what's happening, what's going on. That's why I try to put my videos out there. Relationship ideologies, right? This idea, sorry, fly. This idea that you will run into this guy who's on his big horse, like coming to pick you up and take care of you. This idea stems from these novels and books all the way from the past, which is what women wanted to read and dream about, to this guy who would save them out of their harsh times and have a lot of kids and a large family and be exclusively interested and committed only in them and no other women. I have to smile and laugh about it because I know men. I have a lot of male friends, and I know kind of the way they reproduce, the way they date, the way they do things. And it's really an ideology. There's nothing real about these kind of stories and this idea that, there will be a man who will like do everything in the house and like raise the kids and have a good job and make millions at the same time and love you so much, and all those things. They are pushed by what makes us feel good, by like movies and Disney and stories and friends not leaving out the real stories. It's kind of like when someone says, I won so and so much with gambling, they never say how much they lost. Same for relationships on social media and the ideology that you get from relationships on social media. People never or rarely share like their breakup story, right? They just delete the account. But if something's going well and they're having a good time, they have like a couples account, they post a lot, everyone's like, oh nice, so cool, another like 37-year-old who found a 25-year-old boyfriend, everything exciting. But when they break up, when they go through the fight and they didn't have any kids and their relationship ends up in like a toxic kind of environment, they don't share that. So there's a lot of relationship ideologies out there, and it's really important to understand the reality of relationships. I talk about that in my last video, Raw Relationships, a bit more to kind of show you guys what I think is a real relationship that leads to a healthy, growing family. Casual sex is another way of, taking in a lot of easy, fun time, cheap dopamine, making us feel like we have endless amount of reproductive options. But especially for women, the men that want to then commit to a marriage are way, way lower than those who would just want to have casual sex with you, right? For men, it is kind of proof saying if you can have a lot of casual sex, your reproductive market value might be higher, but a lot of women will not have a child with you just because they want to have sex with you. So we're seeing this both sides, right? Freedom, individualistic narrative is a big one as well, saying like, oh, you can do it all on your own and you will fight the world and make everything better yourself and your own life, put your own hands, trust no one else, don't work with other people, don't like put your trust in your life into someone else's hands, leads to people having a harder time have a lot of kids as well. Mobility is kind of a way that I'm trying to show like actually most, if not everything that is very modern is mate suppressive in a way. The fact that you can just like, leave your tribe, go somewhere else, date someone new, easily, go to some cities or some places. Like there's places where Caucasian men like me have a really easy time dating, right? Like we can just go out there and we can have a bunch of dates a day, no problems at all, and this mobility is pretty unnatural and it's not really healthy. It leads to this kind of opportunity to hyperdate for a lot of casual sex. So even though mobility and like being able to fly and to drive and all those things might feel good, it's again one of the things that came up the last couple hundred years is mate suppressive in the long term looking forward, and leads to less life. It is, as nice as traveling is, I love traveling a lot. Maybe it's smarter to travel with like a partner or something like that. That might be a bit more natural. But even then, if you have like, let's say you have a boyfriend and you travel to South America with him, and suddenly like all these wonderful South American women, they look at him, they're like, oh my God, he's so awesome, he looks so good. You're being mate suppressed by mobility, which is funny, right? But it is the reality. I have this stoner friend, I forgot what exactly he said, but he always says like the norm is extinction, the norm is death. We have to actively, intentionally fight against death and extinction and grow our families healthily and sustainably. I thought that was really smart because it really is. If you just don't do anything about it, you just live your life or you just do whatever you feel like doing and don't go deeper and try to make it work. If your goal is to have a healthy family, right? Your goal could be anything else as well. But if your goal is to have a healthy family, large family, a lot of biological healthy children, maybe as a donor or as a woman or as a father, then it's important to do the work and to fight, because if you don't, the norm is death and extinction, and has always been, actually. So what can we do about mate suppression, MS? What can we do about mate suppression? First, we can go back to a more natural state of community and tribe. We can live in smaller tribes where we know each other and we want to support each other, grow families, and not like have this distant kind of other person at the other side of the company or other side of the world or other side of the society and the country you live in that you don't really care about. You want to just like suck some energy, make some money with them on the other side of the world. You want to grow your own family, but you're going to try and mate suppress them, and others are mate suppressing you. So it's kind of like, you know, mate suppression against mate suppression, and it's like a downward spiral. If you have a small tribe, you can actually make that an upward spiral. So you will want to build a small tribe of healthy individuals who want to grow their families. Focus on your family every day. Like, think about things consciously. Is this good for my future family? Is this good for my future children? Think about the babies and how it impacts them. Think about, you want them healthy. You don't want them with autism or ADHD. You don't want to eat this food because it could lead to higher risks of autism and ADHD. It could lead to other problems with the child, and so on. So focus on family and be aware of what mate suppression is, how you're being mate suppressed, what's happening around you. And also talk to other people. If you have a partner who knows this, then he can tell you, oh, or she can tell you, oh, you're being mate suppressed right now. And if you have a partner who's being mate suppressed, try to, you know, shift her in that direction. If she wants to have children, you want to have children, of course don't like force her or force him. But in my experience, the women I've dated, they were not aware of all these things at all. No idea. They just thought like, okay, I'll do whatever feels good, and then for some reason like family will come along. And it's not how it works, to be honest. Family is like a conscious, hard choice, and it helps to have intergenerational support for sure. I've seen sometimes intergenerational mate suppression, which to me is like makes no sense, but I think they mean it good. Like, I had recipients who wanted to work with a donor, but they would have parents saying, oh, you should find a man. But the recipient was already like in her late 30s, early 40s, where it's really not that easy to do anymore. So maybe it was meant as not mate suppression, but improvement, mate improvement. So they don't really, you know how important it is to like have a healthy donor. If you choose an unhealthy husband versus a healthy donor will lead to a better family overall in the future. You have a network of half siblings. You have like, you know, don't have any health issues with your child, or at least the risk of that is lower, depending on how you treat yourself and what kind of toxins you put in your body yourself. So I think it's really, you know, important to have intergenerational support and have elderly telling you, hey, this is what family looks like. It's tough. It's not the paradise, the dream that, you know, people try to sell you when they try to sell you a movie, or, you know, sell you a Netflix documentary. And a documentary is different, but like a story or episodes or whatever, right? That's not what you're trying to go after. And they're selling you this relationship ideology all the time, because, you know, comfort sells well. Comfort sells really, really well. Comfort is one of the biggest mate suppressing things we have right now. The fact that we can live comfortably is actually leading us to have less children. Leave your phone and leave systems, leave institutions, get back to a tribe, get back into nature, spend less time on your phone, spend more time doing, creating, living things, but without going too much in the individualistic, like busy lifestyle, because having a family means freedom. You have to have freedom in order to take care of the family, but you can't, the family will take away your freedom. So you can't live like a crazy busy lifestyle, but be bored sometimes. Like, put your phone away. I use my phone twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evenings. I haven't been perfect about it, but by now I've gotten really good about it. I don't have any social media apps on my phone anymore. When I record something now, I record it, then send it to my desktop and put it online, because these phones are like, oh my goodness, they're just, for every baby there's one phone now, which is sad actually. I think it would be nicer to have humans instead of phones, but that's just, you know, what happens in modern technology, in modern days. And reproduce meaningfully, bring some legacy in there, bring some meaning, have some idea of what you want to accomplish with your family, where you want to go with your family, how healthy you want your children to be, the things you want your children to learn and to do, and the partners you want them to find. Take reproduction seriously. do it meaningfully, and reproduce. So on that note, thanks so much for watching this video. I hope this helps you a little bit understand, this helps you understand a little bit how people might mate suppress you here and there. If you think about it, I'm pretty sure you can think of situations in the past where you were mate suppressed, or situations right now. If you have a partner who's being mate suppressed, feel free to send her this video. I really appreciate support. I don't want to be a salesy kind of guy. I don't need thousands of people watching. For me, it's enough if I have a little tribe watching my videos. Every time I go in front of the camera like this, I feel like I have my little tribe here, and I'm explaining them how to survive and how to have a healthy family and that kind of stuff. So I'm not looking for thousands and thousands of views, but I'm very happy for every person I can help grow their family healthily. So if you want to share this video with someone who you think would benefit from hearing those things, from someone who is objectively interested in people having more children, even if they're not my own or my partner's or ours, then I still want people to recreate, have children in the larger system. But I as well am trying to leave the larger system. At some point, still want to be a donor, still want to help people grow their families and follow the path of Homo familiensis naturalis that I mentioned before, of the human who's working towards and trying to have a naturally healthy family, because I think that's the future of humanity and future of my family. Yeah, I hope this helped a lot. I really appreciate you guys watching these videos. Leave a comment, leave a like, follow me on one of my socials. If you want to become a donor, help people grow their families, you can join the Open Donor Association. If you want to find a donor as a recipient, you can also join the Open Donor Association. If you want to learn more about family growth, watch one of my next videos. I hope you have a healthy future generation. Take care.